Hey everybody, Craig here, CLP Bushcraft. So I'm out in the woods today, and in front of me here, you see I've got a LT Wright Knives Genesis fixed blade knife and a Leatherman Free P4 multi-tool. Why do you ask? Well, this has always been kind of a debacle for me of which one. And what I mean by that is, okay, so one of my favorite shows, reality style survival shows, is the Show Alone. And with the Show Alone, if you don't know, you have 10 items to choose from. And you have items most people pick, like an axe, a saw, cordage, a pot of some sort like to boil water in, fishing equipment like hooks and fishing line, a bow and arrow to acquire food. You can have kind of a small ration of food to take with you, a sleeping bag. So there's all these things, but in my list of always thinking, well, what would I take? It's going to have to be one or the other, either a fixed blade or a multi-tool. So I just kind of wanted to give you my thoughts on which one I would take if I was to ever be on the show and why. So both of them has advantages and disadvantages. Okay. We'll start out with the multi-tool. So with the multi-tool, the only cutting blade you got is this here. Okay. Which is, I don't know for sure, a little over 2.5 inches, somewhere along them lines. I'm not sure exact measurement on it, but you got this is your cutting tool. So far as game processing, if you was to get a large animal, large game animal, say like a deer, a moose, a bear, something like that, which contestants have gotten this episode or the season that's on right now. Guy named Timber took down a moose, and I'm pretty sure Timber's got a multi-tool, and he processed that whole moose with the multi-tool. Now, if I had my pick on processing, would I want the multi-tool or would I want the fixed blade? I prefer, myself, I'd want the fixed blade. Another aspect of it that's good with the multi-tool is you have different tools, hence multi-tool. So, and I've modified mine a little bit. Like the awl here, I'd sharpen this point down with a Dremel, or sharpen the end of it down with a Dremel to make it more of a point, because this one actually had like a little small flathead screwdriver end. So I did that. The little ruler deal here is kind of useless to me, but I actually took the Dremel and kind of concaved it down where it's more of a scoop, where I could do like a spoon carving and, you know, sharpen the edge here. And then with the can opener here, I actually sharpened this edge down here where I could use as a cutting, you know, instrument. So you've got all these different tools that you could use, and it would be great. You're in, you know, a shelter, you build your shelter and you're inside and you're working on small projects. This would be great. I would really love this. Especially it's got a saw on it, a small saw, and which would work great for smaller tasks, like if you're going to try to make some kind of trap systems and stuff like that. I mean, you can saw into it. It's a lot easier versus like this is be what I would want to take, but it's a katana, a silky katana boy, and as you see, it's a large big saw. Can you saw with this? You know, smaller stuff you can. The you can see I can. It's a lot harder because this is not what this is designed for. It's designed for larger stuff to cut, but you can actually cut with it that way. But what's the word I'm looking for? the ability to cut yourself is a lot more with this big saw versus the little saw on Multitool. So I would really love to have a smaller saw with me. Now, far as fire prep, okay, I would have an axe with me, like so, okay, and with the axe, I would be prepping firewood. I could saw down, standing deadwood with the big silky katana boy. I could start chopping it up and splitting it with the axe. Now, with the axe though, if you're inside your shelter and some of you say it's bad weather or whatever, and you're processing wood, okay, well, like splitting it, this size with the axe is fine, and you break it down like so. At this point, could you still do it with the axe, splitting it? Yes, and get it into this size. But after this, it's a lot easier to be able to take your knife and get smaller. I'll raise the camera here for you. To be able to get smaller pieces for kindling with batoning this down with your, move that out of the way, with your fixed blade knife, like so. To get smaller pieces, it would be way harder, and I wouldn't even want to attempt it, especially with this wood because it's red oak, dried red oak, to try to baton down with your multi-tool. And these are not designed for that, okay? Even with a softwood, like say cedar, I really wouldn't want to do it. So it's kind of a toss-up, okay? Plus two, with the multi-tool, you've got pliers. You could use it for, being able to straighten fish hooks back out. You can use it, a lot of people have snare wire, and you can cut your snare wire really easy, that kind of thing. So this has a lot of advantages. But the fixed blade, to me, I think if I was to go on the show, I would have to go with a fixed blade. And one of the main reasons of that is the fixed blade, there's no mechanical failure. Could it break if I'm sitting there batoning it? Yeah, it could. Have I batoned this knife through a lot of wood? I have. Has it messed up with me before or done anything? No, absolutely not. I completely trust this knife. So there's no mechanical issues here. With this, there's a lot, okay? The blade on it, everything is being held together, basically is screwed together, okay? The blade on it locks, of course, but it's screwed in here, okay? Would it fail me? Probably not. The more you use it, it will get weaker. The comfort wise of it, if I'm actually trying to make something, if I'm sitting there and I've got this big square thing in my hand trying to make stuff, and I've carved an entire cedar float plane with this thing. I've done it. This is way more comfortable for me, and I can maneuver it way easier than I can this. So if I'm trying to carve out something or that kind of thing, it's going to be way easier on me to do it with this, and I'm more locked in with this versus this. You know, as far as I say locked in, I'm like, in my hands, it fits in, I'm locked into it. It's don't move with me, that kind of thing. Whereas this, it's a block of metal that is slick. For one, if your hands, you know, are a little bit wet or anything like that, this is going to slide really easily in your hand. Great tool, and I don't knock anybody for using one on the show at all. There's a lot of people have went to this, and they're great. And it would really, I mean, it'd be a tough decision, but I would wind up going with the fixed blade. It's just personal preference is me. I've done a lot, I've made a lot of stuff, and like in that kind of situation, you're going to be needing to make stuff like figure 4 deadfalls, you know, like trigger systems, you know, for snares or for set hooks, that kind of thing. You're going to be making stuff. Even just the being alone in the shelter on a rainy day, trying to carve something, because it kind of, that way your head is in a better place. Like you're focusing on something. You're not just sitting there not doing anything. You're staying busy. So even if you're carving a wood spirit, or you're carving out chess pieces for a chessboard that you're making, whatever you're doing, to me, this would be way better on doing that than the multi-tool. Because I'm so used to using this knife, that would be way easier on me to use this. But like I say, as far as the cutting part of it goes, I mean, as far as cutting goes, you're going to be using it, you're going to be cutting cordage. You know, if you're going to be making your shelter, that kind of thing. You're going to be processing firewood with it. And people can say what they want to. I don't care. You got the axe, and that's fine. You could process the wood with an axe all the way down to small pieces like this. Yes, you can. Okay, but you greater your chances of getting hurt with this axe trying to baton small pieces down way more than just this knife. Okay, I've seen it. We've seen it on loan. People using this axe and getting injured. So yes, the axe has its place for processing wood, but when it gets down to small kindling, I just don't prefer this at all. That's not me. I'm going to use my knife to baton down through wood to get smaller pieces. And you say, why you got to baton down through to get smaller pieces? Well, one, big old huge pieces is not going to just start on fire for you. And then two, if it's wet, where a lot of times the contestants are, it's wet. So like Vancouver, you know, everything was wet there. So you had to get into the wood to get dry wood, you know. I would a whole lot better easily do it with this. And then as far as game processing goes, to me, game processing, especially bigger game, would be way better with this versus this little multi-tool. And then plus you get blood all over your hands, and it's slick, and all you've got is just stainless steel metal here in your hand. Versus here, I have got grippier micarta, and when it gets wet, it gets even grippier. So to me, the less chance of the knife slipping and giving an injury or something like that is better with the micarta versus the multi-tool. Like I say, both great tools. Personal preference, I'm taking the fixed blade. Hope y'all have enjoyed this video. If you got any comments, questions, anything like that, just comment down below and we'll get back to you. Thank y'all for watching.